My Buddhist name is Dharmalata. My birth name is Jeremy. I've been living in Sydney for quite a long time now. I actually moved to Sydney 20 odd years ago, more than 20 years ago, to come to acting school, our national acting school. But I've stayed on like Rick in Casablanca. I have reasons to be here in Sydney now, including having a 28-year-old boy. I actually, as a teenager, got quite bad acne, and that actually was the thing that in one sense put me onto a path thinking I need to eat really good food. You know, the fatty, sugary stuff had such a strong association in my mind with holistic health that
How old were you?
I reckon I was around 16,
Okay.
15, 16, and that was traumatic for me. I mean, it's traumatic for a teenager to, suddenly have a very splotchy face. So
And what did you have to change? What was the thing that you changed, like, from your diet?
I took out the sugary, fatty, junk foody, chocolate, fried foods, and moved much more towards fruit and vegetables, whole what I would sort of understand as whole foods. But then another thing happened on the heels of that is a couple of my friends read a book called Survival in the 21st Century, which was a very early groundbreaking book that challenged people to think about, and it was veganism, a lot of juicing, wheatgrass. It was radical, actually, radical. But I reread this recently, and it's got so many good principles, I think fundamentally good principles, and that witnessing these two friends of mine that got into it was actually really powerful, and it came on the heels of me sort of taking on that acne sort of trauma. And so I think, and then I did a degree in physical education at Teachers College, and so a few things sort of married, and I just saw the value, like how I feel in a way blessed, because I think at an early age I was caused to think about taking care of oneself holistically, and now I am so grateful for that.
So would you say that ever since you were 16, you've pretty much eaten a balanced whole foods diet?
Mostly. And it moved towards being vegetarian, and then another probably decade later it moved towards being vegan. And
what made you consider to eat more vegan?
I think fundamentally it's just better for us. I mean, I'd love to say it was, as a Buddhist, there was of course the whole compassion angle, that one is, it's kinder, no animal wants to die. So again, a few things sort of married, but also very much I think it's better for us. I think our machine runs better on a plant-based diet. Yeah.
So
Look, I think the way we eat and the things we choose to eat are very habitual. We're in strong habits. So initially a lot of people go, oh no, I could never give up cheese, or I could never give up meat, and there's really strong habits. I've found that over time, really well turned out, well prepared vegetarian and vegan food, I now prefer. I love it. And, I know this is sounding like a pitch, but, to encounter Karin's cooking was a revolution. And what it made so clear was it doesn't have to be a compromise. In fact, it's not even a compromise. It's something I very much want to go towards.
And what is like one or two recipes that have kept you going in the last few years and had you, ingest enough fruit and veg?
Yeah. Well, one, a stalwart, or, a staple from the Karin, treasure trove is the kale pesto.
The kale and walnut pesto.
The kale.
I wrote about you in that recipe.
Oh yeah, that I just love it, and people love it. I've made that so many times now. I can make it, in my sleep.
Cool.
But it's completely delicious.
And what about, do you have a breakfast tip for us? Because I find vegan breakfast quite difficult. Like there's only so much fruit and muesli you want to eat, every day.
I have half buckwheat and half quinoa that I boil just for 10 minutes, and then I just let it sort of stew in the saucepan to expand and cook. Then I usually have that with some gluten-free muesli that I've mostly made myself, and grated or some fruit. Always put some fresh fruit on top of it, whatever I've got in my organic fruit and veggie box that's been delivered. That so it's usually seasonal.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so at the moment, all stone fruits and things like that.
Jeremy, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then I'll have either rice milk, or sometimes I'll put fruit juice over it, and sometimes I'll drizzle tahini over it as well.
And do you do like nuts and seeds and psyllium husks and?
Yeah. Every morning I have handfuls of dry roasted cashews, sometimes some dry roasted almonds, and I also every morning, and I'd be interested in your take on this, Karen, because I get a 5 kilo bag of organic carrots delivered every week. So I have every day I have a carrot juice and always have ginger in it because I think ginger is totally kick ass. In fact, I put down, I'm not sure, but one of the reasons I think I seem to hardly ever get a cold or a flu now is that ginger.
Right.
And I had some Indian fellas staying with me recently,
Oh,
and they say, "Oh, you in India, ginger is medicine. It's medicine." You know, so.
But you used to also grow wheatgrass yourself.
That's right, and I've fallen out of the habit maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I should get it back on the rails because. But I did that for years. I've got my own little wheatgrass farm out the back.
So this is like living proof of the effect of living in Sydney, a healthy lifestyle by the sea. And what do you do nowadays, if you would like to share that with us?
Yeah, well, I've got my own business really now that I run with my son. So I do holiday letting, Airbnb stuff and all of that. I collected a few properties over the years because I love architecture and I love working with buildings. So I've sort of tried to combine that and create an experience for people. 2 times a week here at the beautiful Coogee Croquet Club that you can sort of see some of in the background. We offer meditation. That's every Tuesday evening from 6 until 7:30 p.m. and every Sunday morning from 8 until 9 a.m. And yeah, any of you, I love to see you. So yeah, please come along. If you Google Coogee meditation, it'll bring you to our website.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, and I hope that you enjoy your wonderful health for the rest of your days, because it sounds like you're on a really good path, and it's really inspiring because I also found out about your age recently, and I'm very inspired, and I want to be like you when I'm your age. Yay!
Thanks. Yeah, well, look, I know we were talking about this, weren't we, Karen? And I think, I couldn't be happier with my health and my energy and just my mental states, actually, at this ripe old age of 60. And I think I'm just a real believer in the fact that, the conditions we create for ourselves and the choices we make, as we become older, they become increasingly important.
And it can be delicious and enjoyable and kind-hearted.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that idea, if we are a kind, compassionate being and we're trying to move in that direction, it'll make our life magic.
Beautiful. Go well, Jeremy.
Thank you. You too.